Hey, what's going on, everyone? Georgia Tech and Clemson kicks off in less than an hour at 12 o'clock ABC. Both teams are 5-4. I think Georgia Tech's 4-2 in the conference. Clemson's 2-4 in the conference, and it's a really interesting game for Clemson, especially coming off the big win against Notre Dame last week. I'll get into that and more. But hey, I'm Brian. Thanks for joining me on the Clemson Football Live Network. I'm having to retrain myself to say that name because I've been saying the other name for a long time. Also, if everything looks a little different, I actually have some technical difficulties with my laptop, so I'm having a tech work on the laptop, so I'm having to shoot the video from my phone, so it's very different for me at this point. But I'm going to make this quick because I have a football game to be at myself at 12 o'clock. My son's playing in the rain, 12 o'clock, the YMCA, so I will be at his game and try to catch as much as of the Clemson first half as I can. With that said, rain is a big deal. Rain is a big deal in this game. If you are in the upstate of South Carolina, you know that it has been raining and raining consistently for a while. So the question is, how will that affect the running game, the passing game, the everything game for both of these teams? We know that Clemson's ranked number 6 in total defense. Georgia Tech, they're ranked number 14 in total offense. I know that I'm receiving this particular comment from Georgia Tech fans. Georgia Tech fans, they're saying, hey, you predicted us to lose somewhere around, like 24-17, 27-17, somewhere in there. We don't see it. No one's held us to under so many points per game. And the only comeback that I'll have to that is I expect this to be a close game, but I hate to tell you, you have not played a defense as good as Clemson's this year. I have not seen... I've looked at your schedule. I don't see a defense on the entire schedule that even remotely looks like Clemson. The one thing that is working for Clemson this year is their defense. So that will be interesting to see what packages that Wes Goodwin dials up against Haynes King, the sophomore transfer out of Texas A&M. Now, this year, he's thrown for over 2,000 yards. He has thrown for 10 interceptions. So look for Clemson to go after him, to give him some different looks. He is very talented. A guy like him, he's going to get his. He's going to get some of his plays, and you can't be shocked that he may have some success. But the idea is to limit how many long plays they have. I know that they have a lot of explosive plays. But then again, look at who they've played this year. So we should think about that. Now, on the other side that doesn't work in Clemson's favor so much is the offense. I know what happened last week. It was incredible. Phil Maffa came out and put on a clinic on how to run the football in a very tough, physical game with a lot of emotion riding on it. He came in, played the first string running back when he's normally... I know that everyone says, oh, they both start. Yeah, they both start, but we know who's been getting the majority of the carries. And that's not a shot towards Shipley. It's just go read the stat sheet. You'll see who's getting the majority of the carries. You'll also see who's getting more production. And this year, just some years or some games, you'll have a back do better than others. So it's good to have 2 different backs, 3 different backs who can run the football, just in case one's having a bad day. It happens to the best of us, right? So this is a good problem to have. What I suggest is run Maffa, run Maffa, run Maffa. I know that Shipley most likely will play today. Everything that I'm hearing, I just Googled right before I got on here. Shipley should be playing today. Unless something happens or unless they decide at the last second to hold him out, he will play. The question that I have is who wins the battle of not so great offense on the Clemson side of the football. I mean, it's not the worst, but it's not what Clemson fans are used to seeing. Versus a Georgia Tech defense that's not amazing. So it's kind of like evening the playing field to a point. And to me, the key of the game is, once again, it's simple. Get the ball to Maffa. Get the ball to Maffa and let him run. I'm telling you, the grass outside of my house, I live about an hour from Clemson. My family still lives in the Clemson area. I talked to one of my family members this morning. They said the ground is saturated. It's that steady rain that's not raining real hard, but it's just raining consistently. That is the type of rain that creates flooding. That's the type of rain that soaks into the ground because it's just evenly pouring for hours upon hours. And for running backs, for wide receivers, for offensive linemen, for defensive linemen, if you're in the trenches, heck, if you're just on the field, that creates a problem gaining traction, and this could create a problem for both teams. The best way to remedy that is to run the ball effectively with someone like Maffa. Give the ball to Shipley, but I think that after the performance last week, let's not punish Maffa, let's reward him. So, John Sarian asked, is there any lightning going on? No, not that I know of. I know here in the area I'm living in, I haven't heard thunder or lightning. It's just consistent rain. So, I'm just really interested to see if Clemson, and this will help me feel better about if we're at a turning point or if last week was just an emotional win, and Clemson's going to be looking back at that emotional win, or looking forward to next week when Drake May and North Carolina's coming to town. I mean, today to me is a dangerous game for Clemson, and let's go ahead and take talent off the table. Clemson's been talented all season. Clemson shouldn't have lost to Miami. They shouldn't have lost to NC State. You're going to have some games that you lose here and there. That's just the nature of college football. But I'm sorry, folks. Those two games Clemson shouldn't have lost. They shouldn't have lost. You can't explain that away. Well, we're having a down year. There's a down year, and then there's losing games like that makes you question what's going on. If Clemson played the local high school and they lost, would you still have that same approach? The answer is, if you're smart, no. And Clemson lost to an underwhelming NC State team. They lost to a Miami team that had they had a true freshman out there. Sorry, I read a comment and it just totally threw my mind. They had a true freshman quarterback, and they had a 10-point lead, and they blew it. So, you can try to talk this away all you want to, but today would be a great place for Clemson to prove, yes, we've learned from the error of our ways. We accept the win last week. We're going to make the right decisions. Now, I have people in the comment section, other people says that Dabo had a talk with the coaches and really gave them a good butt chewing. Good. That's a good thing. And we know what he did to Streeter after only one season. He went out and he hired Garrett Riley. At the same time, folks, I'm not just trying to be a jerk here. I'm not trying to kill Dabo. I'm glad he went and, he got married and had a wife and kids and all that stuff he said in the rant. But nobody put a gun to his head and made him hire a bunch of inexperienced offensive coaches. There's one guy who did it, and Dabo can go he can walk into his local restroom and stare in a mirror, and he will see the guy who made that decision. It is his team, but that doesn't mean that he could just go down to Death Valley and light a fire and set the place on fire and just walk off and go, well, I basically built it so I can destroy it. I think that's where I have a friction with other people, is that doesn't sit well with me. But it's great that he went in and told these guys, hey, if you don't step it up, we're going to have to make some changes. That's great. But he was the one who hired them, and you can only perform to the level that you have grown to. And so I just don't think these guys are at the place that they should be professionally. But anyway, hopefully he'll go out and, hire the best position coaches possible. So Clemson should just run the football today. That's exactly what I would do if I were Clemson. I would run the flipping football, Phil Maffa, and then use Shipley in other ways. You can run the football with him, but put him in different scenarios to get him the football. He has a lot of ability, and we don't have to just use him as a running back. So that's the key. But I'm just really interested to see what the blocking scheme is going to be like up front. I know that Garrett Riley simplified the offensive line scheme. And folks, I'm just going to tell you, you know me, I'm a keep it simple, stupid sort of guy. I think that too many times people, whether it's in football, whether it's in business, whether it's in their personal life, they just make things just way too difficult. Way too difficult. Not everything is, brain surgery. Not everything is rocket science. Most people, I'm going to give you some examples, and this is totally off football, but just hang with me here. I'm just going to give you some examples where you can, be really simple, implement a simple plan, and it works. Finances. Don't spend more than you make, save, and look for better employment. Possibly start a business if there's, an opportunity. That was simple. Yeah, there's details there, but that's simple. Next, health. Don't eat trash and move. You may not be on the front of Muscle Magazine, but most likely you will be in better shape. Not everybody has a gland problem. Not everybody has some type of weird disease. Most people just eat trash and don't move. Going back to football, sometimes you just have to simplify the blocking scheme. Give the football to a workman. He is blue collar running. Phil Moffitt is a blue collar running back that can hit the net. I know he may not be some crazy speed demon, but he's not slow. Come on. Hand the ball to him. Let him punish them. Bring in Shipley here and there. Bring in even Dominique Thomas. Just run them down. Just wear them down and impose your will on them. And then have the defense come out and just give some different looks to a guy who has thrown 10 interceptions. He is very talented. He's very talented. He's in a new system. It's his first year there. It's very impressive. I'm not going to put down Haynes King. He's very talented. But he's playing against a defense like he hasn't played all season. Just go out there, confuse the guy. And I think that it can get really, really interested. But the playing conditions right now is definitely a question mark with Clemson, because I'm telling you, which in fact I need to end this video and get ready to go to my son's game. But you're going to see a lot of slips. You're going to see wide receivers slip. If Georgia Tech comes out there and tries to throw the football on Clemson, you might see some wide receivers slipping, but at the same time, you might see some DB slip. So we will see. Well, I will try to catch you at halftime, and I will be back on my phone since I'm having my computer worked on. But everybody, I look for Clemson to win this game. But I will tell you, it is not out of the realm of possibility of Georgia Tech winning this game, because Clemson has not proven that they have turned the corner yet. This will be a good way to do it. Beat a team you're supposed to beat, which they're a favorite by 14 points over Georgia Tech. Beat them. Don't let them hang around. Beat them. Respect their ability to play, but beat them. And don't worry about next week. Last week's over. The season is what it is. Play this game. Go out there, take it personally, win the game, move on. We only have 3 games left in the season, counting today. So, can't believe the season's almost over. Folks, you take care of yourself, and I will catch you hopefully at halftime. As always, go Tigers.